Hello, my name is Beck and welcome to a reading vlog. I already have 2 updates and I haven't even started yet. So the first update is that I just posted my September to be read pile and I've already got a confirmation for that. So in that video I said that I wanted to DNF the Heartforger potentially if I couldn't get into it, and I am DNFing the Heartforger. However, luckily Audible did a random sale, not even a sale, it was just like, hey, the Bone Witch series is on here for free. So I've downloaded the entire trilogy, it's all on my Audible now, and at some point I think next year I'm going to reread the Bone Witch and then continue on to the rest of the series. So while this is DNF'd for now, it's not DNF'd forever and I'm going to revisit it in the future. And I am kind of trying to invest my time in reading this series because I don't want to DNF it. I really want to like it and I've seen positive reviews for it and I liked the first book. So I don't want to forget about it. So that's why I'm giving it this like 3rd chance next year. So this is not on my to be read pile this year at all anymore, but it is in general for next year. So I'm just parking this series for now. The next update is that I got really into listening to audiobooks again lately, and so I finished 2 of the books that were in my September to be read video as well, and that was the Book of Etta and the Book of Flora, and they are the sequels to the Book of the Unnamed Midwife. And while I liked them enough, they're post-apocalyptic books, and I think I preferred the Book of the Unnamed Midwife because I gave that a 5 out of 5 stars and I read that in February. So if you're considering reading the series, then just stick to maybe the first book. But this series has really amazing queer representation, especially for trans characters, because there's trans characters in the next 2 books. So if that's something that is up your alley, then by all means go ahead and read them, but I preferred the format of the first book. So that is my favorite. And now finally, what is on my TBR for this week? These are books that I want to read in September. They were in my September TBR and they are Addie LaRue and then the rest of the Fruits Basket series. So I have volumes 9, 10, 11 and 12. This is the 12th, obviously, the last in the series. So I want to get through all of these this week. So hopefully that will be the case because I anticipate Manga won't take me too long to get through. And then after the Tome Topple readathon, which I also vlogged, that really put a fire in me for reading. So I'm really quite excited to read. I've also filmed a ton of videos ahead of time. So I am well into my editing and exporting. I have got a plan until like mid-September. So I don't have to do a ton of editing unless I'm editing this vlog, which is a good thing because it frees up a lot of my time. So I'm also listening to the audiobook for the Calulating by Mary Robinette Kowal, and that is a sci-fi book, but it's set in the 50s and it's when a meteor strikes Earth, and it's about these women who want to help the quest, I guess, into space to make Mars habitable, but because of the traditions of the society at the time, they're not letting women fly. So it's called the Lady Astronaut series. Obviously, eventually they probably end up in space, but at the moment we're just combating those things like patriarchy and racism in the book, and it's really good. I like it a lot, but it's just quite heavy, especially significant as well at this point in time looking in the media. So it's one that I've got to be in the right frame of mind to listen to, but the audiobook isn't that long, so I think I'll finish it this week as well. So today I just plan on reading for the entire day. I will update you periodically if I finish anything, and then tomorrow I also plan on reading, and then Wednesday I'm going home, so I'm probably just gonna binge watch more of Lucifer because I'm loving that at the moment, and then when I come back I'll get into more reading again. So those are my plans and I'll see you soon. It is now 1 PM and I have finished volume 9 and I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 stars, and I was hoping it would be at least a 4, but I thought some of it might get a little bit bogged down and I was right. So the reason I gave this a 3 is just because, one, it didn't focus on the characters that I wanted it to focus on, but that's a pretty selfish reason to give it a 3 out of 5, but it also went into a few side characters that it previously hadn't really touched on and hadn't really built up, but it did that to reiterate and echo what was going on with the main characters in the main plot, because this really revealed a lot of lore about the Zodiac curse, and it also revealed a lot of character motivations, and it also revealed a lot about the cycle of abuse that goes on in here. And there was a plot twist that I had completely forgotten about, so that definitely surprised me. I liked what this is doing. I liked the few little things that are sprinkled through that are going to, you can clearly see it's going to set up for the last 3 volumes in the series, or the last 6, but bind-ups, so 3 technically. I'm gonna read more today and maybe I'll get a volume completed after this. So I don't know what's gonna happen next, but I like the way it built up Yuki in this one, and I like the few mentions of Kyo in here, and I like that there was set up for the fear and determination for one of the particular characters in here as well. I'm being obviously very vague because this is very deep into the series now, and I've talked about this a lot on my channel, so I'm assuming most people know what it is, but it's basically just Zodiac curse. Girl's father has passed away and she ends up living with this family who have this curse, and they've got to find friendship and love in each other and also face their vulnerability and the long-standing cycle of abuse that's gone on with the family. The curse involves being hugged by a member of the opposite sex and turning into literally an animal of the Chinese zodiac. So is that a plane and a car? We're introduced to the dog, the rat, and the cat, which is an extra. It's like the 13th one in the first volume of the book. So you see the foundation set up for the zodiac stuff very early on, but we're now learning more about the detail behind it in this book. So it's been just like part of the story, but now we're actually peeling back the layers because we know everyone by this point in the series. So now we're going into like the details behind their curse, which I liked. That was the only really good thing about this volume, and I kind of remembered pieces of it anyway, so I think that's why it didn't hit me with the big plot reveal impact, although one twist, like I said, I did really like. So gonna continue on with volume 10. Why hello, it is Tuesday, and forgive my look, I've got no makeup on, but I have been reading and I finished 11 and 12, so I have finished the Fruits Basket series. I actually thought I'd cry based on my first read through of this, but I think because I knew roughly how it ended already, a lot of that surprise and shock factor and emotional impact was taken away. So I did really like it, and I gave which volume's which? I gave 12 4 stars, and I gave volume 11 a 5 out of 5. So a lot of the pinnacle stuff in the plot and with the characters hinged on this volume. A lot of it went down in this, and then this was like a wrapping up volume, and almost half of it is actually made up of like quotes and stuff and bonus material, so this isn't a full volume of story, it's only like half a volume of story. So that is where this one came in and just sucker punched me. Again, didn't cry, but loved the ending of this, loved this volume overall. Found a few things in this volume a little bit odd. Well, not a few things, just mainly one thing. It's a major spoiler, so I can't say what it actually is, but it just felt quite inconsistent because I didn't see anything built up to that conclusion for this thing in any of the previous installments in the series. So it didn't seem logical to me, and it seemed like a misaligned character thing that happened. So that's why this didn't get a 5 stars, but I love the ending with all my heart, and this got a 5 stars. So the ending of this series was satisfying to me, and now I am free to go and watch the anime. So eventually in my future I'll do that. But as for today, I'm probably going to start reading Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and I've been putting that off because, yeah, I know it's early, but also I'm scared because I have a lot of expectations for this book and I want it to be really good. And with V.E. Schwab, I either enjoy her work but find a lot of stuff predictable, like I've predicted the endings for This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet before, and so I don't want to predict anything. I don't want to see the trajectory of the story, so that is why I'm nervous. But also she writes awesome world building, awesome characters, and awesome morality and themes, so that is worthwhile. So Addie LaRue, if you didn't know, I should have brought it with me, but it's not in the room with me. I think the book spans like 300 years, and I don't think it's YA. I think it's either new adult or adult, so I'm looking forward to it, like I said, and that is what I'm going to be reading next. I also listened to more of the Calculating Stars on audiobook, and I'm now 40% into that, so I'm making a lot of headway on my reading. I'm pretty happy with it at the moment. I'm 62 books out of 100, and I'm about 3 or 4 books behind my reading goal, so I'm not convinced that I'm going to catch up on my reading goal this year, but if I can get to, you know, 70 or 80 books or close to 100, then I'll be pretty happy. These are done, Calculating Stars is almost done, Addie LaRue I will start. Given that it's only Tuesday, I think I'm doing quite well. Hey, so it's Friday now, and I went home on Wednesday, and the good news is I'm now on season 3 of Lucifer, but the bad news is I have barely done any reading. So sometimes you just gotta fall off the wagon and into Netflix. It's just the way it is. But I have started Addie LaRue, and I'm 54 pages in. I'm really liking the writing style. I think this book is going to be at least a 4 stars, and if the plot does some really cool things, which I anticipate it probably will, it's looking like it might be a 5 stars. Already the sense of loneliness has come through in the book, and we're jumping from the 1700s into present day. I don't know if I actually gave a synopsis of what this is, but Addie does a deal with the devil, and she does the deal for immortality, but the price of immortality is that the devil can't get at her soul because he makes trades for souls, and so he puts a little curse on her, and that curse is that nobody remembers her. So it's about, I guess it's just about her living her life and trying to find some kind of permanence in it, and it's not really happening. But I think I heard someone else talk about it I think she runs into a guy in a bookstore and he remembers her name. I'm looking forward to having that interaction, but that hasn't happened and I'm 50 pages in, so it's really setting itself up quite well, and I loved the way that it does the time jumps to show what she was like to where she is now, because obviously where she is now is very relatable because it's in our setting. That's what I'm going to be doing today, hopefully reading more of Addie. Hello, now it is 4 o'clock and I have read how many pages? 190, so I'm almost 200 into this, and I don't know what I expected, but I'm loving it. The loneliness, the existential like nature of wanting to be remembered and to have people know you is just like speaking to something in my soul, especially because of quarantine. Like the loneliness that comes from isolation is really touched on in a thematic way in here, and I'm really liking that it's doing that and invoking that emotion. In one scene I kind of like started to tear up just because of the way that it was done, not necessarily because it was sad. And I think V.E. Schwab, the fact that she waited to write this, I remember seeing her on a writers panel a while ago when she was talking about this early on before it came out, that she had this idea like 10 years ago or more, and she didn't decide to write it then because she knew that she couldn't get the emotion of it right, because she was, in her words, she said that she was too young to write it then, and she waited and then wrote it now. And I think that was a really smart choice to have when it comes to the themes in here. And I think because she waited so long, she did this book justice. And I think she's done a brilliant job so far. This is like, it's well on its way to being a 5 stars. And so I really hope I don't jinx anything by saying that at this point in the vlog, because I've done that before and then it's ended up being a lesser rating than I predicted it to be. But in this case, I really hope that I'm wrong and that it remains a 5 stars, because I love the detail. I love the time jumps. I think that they're not jarring and they add something each time you read them. And she's just crafted this story so well. And I've seen a lot of her posts on social media about her being really worried about this book releasing. And I can understand why, because it's doing a lot, but I think it's doing it all very, very well. And it hasn't done one thing better and then let the other thing completely drop. I think it's doing everything very, very nuanced and in a way that I can really get on board and be interested in everything. So I'm gonna sing praises about this book because I'm really liking it. However, I don't think I'm gonna finish it for this vlog because I know that I've got to film my August reading wrap up tomorrow, and then I'm going back home on Sunday for Father's Day because it's Father's Day here in Australia. So I don't know how much I'm going to read because this is like 540 pages and I'm only just under 200 pages in. So I don't want to like rush my way through this just for the sake of finishing it for a vlog, but I will try and read as much as I can before the vlog ends because I'm really liking this and I think it's going to become one of my new favorites, and I really, really hope that's the case. I'm also currently still listening to The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal, and I only actually know about that book because of the podcast called Writing Excuses, because I've really wanted to write for a very long time, but I've kind of tripped myself up in doing so for a very long time and I haven't really known how to approach it. And the way that they talk on Writing Excuses, it's a podcast that is owned by Brandon Sanderson's company and he's often on the podcast as well, but there's usually a format of a few writers on there and it is only 15 minutes long-ish every episode, so it's really bite-sized. But Mary Robinette Kowal is one of the regulars of this podcast and she has such a brilliant and academic and very intelligent way of approaching writing, and she breaks it down in a way that is very palatable as well. So because of listening to her talk about The Calculating Stars on that podcast, I then wanted to listen to the audiobook. So that's really what put it on my radar, and that's why I'm listening to it now. And all of the things that she talked about in the podcast and the way that she approaches things so, not intensely, that's not the right word, but so carefully and honestly is the reason that I'm loving The Calculating Stars. It's probably going to be about a 4 just because I'm not loving the setting of where it's at, but that's just me not really liking historical fiction, and that's just a very personal preference. I can understand absolutely why people will give it 5 stars. Everything that it's approaching when it comes to societal values like patriarchy, anxiety, which it's doing incredibly, anxiety and medication, and female friendships, and a loving relationship at the heart of it, it's just doing so well. And that's why I keep coming back to the audiobook. Also, Mary Robinette Kowal narrates it herself. She's also an audiobook narrator, so obviously she did it herself for her own series, but she does it so well, and I thought it would be a bit grating listening to the author narrate her own book, but it's actually something that immerses me further into the story rather than pulling me out of it. So she's doing an incredible job. She's done a wonderful job writing it, and I reckon I'm about halfway through now. So I'm probably not going to finish that either for this vlog because I've got about 3 hours left, and if I want to dedicate a lot of my time to reading the rest of Addie, or more of Addie at least, I don't think I'm going to be able to sit there and listen to it, even if we do go on our walks, because Dave and I go for a walk because we've got a curfew in Australia. In Melbourne there's a curfew at about 8 p.m, and so Dave finishes working from home, we have dinner, and then sometimes we go for a walk, and he'll listen to the Dresden Files and I'll listen to the Calculating Stars. So some of that might get listened to on our walk, but we'll see. It happened last night, I listened to a little bit more, but not enough to like be a noticeable difference. So I think all of that rambling is me just saying that I'm probably not going to get to it in time, but that's okay. It wasn't even on my September TBR video. It was just a book that I thought I would pick up because I'm waiting for The Trouble with Peace to come out by Joe Abercrombie, and that comes out on the 17th of September. So I'm trying to like make up time for listening to audiobooks while I'm waiting for that one. That's why I'm listening to the Calculating Stars. That is my update for Addie, and I don't know what else to really say because I honestly have not been doing much else to really be truthful. I've emailed a friend, I've looked up job applications, I've looked up websites that are supposed to have job applications on them, but then they don't have any because it's a pandemic. So I'm just trying to be kind to myself, and the last few days have been a bit emotionally rough just for what I'm putting on myself. So I think I just need to chill, and that's what I'm trying to do. So Addie, reading Addie is what I'm gonna keep doing today. Hello, it is now Saturday morning and I have just filmed my reading wrap up. Thankfully that is done for the day, and then I've got boxing class on Zoom, which is still hard work. So hopefully I'll do some reading this afternoon, but I'll check in later. So it is now 9:30 in the evening and I have done no reading. Well, I listened to a little bit of an audiobook today, but I haven't done any reading. I filmed my wrap up, I edited and exported my entire wrap up. Dave bought a TV, we went for a walk, we exercised today. I think we're just gonna play Beat Saber on VR for the evening, and maybe we'll lie in bed and listen to an audiobook, and then it'll be tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm gonna read tomorrow, but given that I've done my editing for my wrap up today, I love editing, which is why I couldn't just ignore it until this vlog was done. I had to get it finished, but I think I will be able to read tomorrow given that my editing is all done, because that won't take up my time. So hopefully I can read a little bit more of Addie tomorrow, because I genuinely am really liking that book, but I made no time to read it today. I also, because it's Father's Day tomorrow, I also drew a little card for my dad that had a dragon on it with some books, because he's a big reader like I am. So I figured he would appreciate a book dragon. But I guess that's my minimal update for today. I popped in this morning and I popped in this evening, and now I'm leaving until tomorrow. Before I go, I listened to, I don't know if you can see that, but I listened to 60% of the Calculating Stars by now. So I don't think I'm gonna have it finished by tomorrow, because tomorrow is the last day of this reading vlog, but I have 4 hours of the audiobook left, so I've got about 2 hours of listening time because I listen double speed. So hopefully I can get that done soon, because A Trouble with Peace comes out mid-September and I am excited about it. And I don't think I have an audiobook to go in between Calculating Stars and A Trouble with Peace, unless I decide to jump the gun and download Jade City, I think is the name of the first book by Fonda Lee. That's been doing the rounds lately on BookTube and on Twitter, and I don't really know what it's about except that Jade is like the currency and it's family oriented but fantasy. That's all I know. I have listened to a sample and I like the audiobook, so that might be what I listen to next, depending on how long it is. But this is all to say that I don't know what I'm gonna read next. I probably won't read tonight, and then I'll do a little bit of reading tomorrow. So that is my update. Hello, now it's Sunday and I haven't done any physical reading today. I didn't think I would. I hoped I would, but I didn't think I would. We mostly played Beat Saber. And then after that we went for a walk, so we went for 2 walks and we listened to our audiobooks. So I have about 1 hour or 30 minutes, because I listen at double speed, of the Calculating Stars left, and I was really trying to finish it so I could round it off for this vlog, but it's getting a bit late in the afternoon and I need to finish editing this vlog so that I can upload it tomorrow. So I need to do that before I end up going home for Father's Day. So I have to wrap it up now, but I'm pretty happy with my progress. Even though I kind of fell down for 2 days and didn't do any reading whatsoever. I read almost 200 pages of Addie, I finished 4 volumes of manga, and I've almost finished an audiobook. And I do know that I said I want to start Jade City by Fonda Lee, but I think I actually want to start the next Dresden book because Dave has just finished with it, and so now I am free to listen to it. So I might do that next as an audiobook and put Jade City off for a while, because it wasn't something that I was aiming to read soon anyway. It was just something that was on my radar. So maybe I can fit Dresden in before A Trouble with Peace or The Trouble with Peace. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. I'll see what happens, but that is it for my reading vlog. Let me know if you've read any of these books down in the comments. Let me know what you're currently reading. I would love to hear, but thank you again so much for watching this video. I will chat to you down below and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.